I thought, wow, this worked for me. I could not believe it.
Relaxium Sleep is studied, tested, and designed by a neurologist to help you fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up refreshed.
Relaxium Sleep worked from the very first night I took it. I had more focus and mental clarity than I've had in years.
Relaxium is drug-free and not addictive, so you can take Relaxium every night and never worry about side effects. And the best part is, it can start working from the very first night.
When I take Relaxium Sleep, I sleep better than I have in years.
I wake up feeling like I've had the best night's sleep.
Stop being afraid and start sleeping your fears away with Relaxium Sleep. Your body and your mind will thank you.
Mike Huckabee is so confident that Relaxium will work for you, he's asked us to give away 1,000 bottles.
If you're not getting calm enough to go to sleep, take Relaxium Sleep. I promise you it'll work.
Get your risk-free bottle of Relaxium Sleep now. It's guaranteed to work or your money back. Visit tryrelaxium.com or call 800-306-8190. That's tryrelaxium.com or call 800-306-8190.
Do you have a box of videotapes, film reels, or photos that are degrading?
Legacy Box professionally converts them to DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
Legacy Box is simple and safe, with over 1 million satisfied customers.
Visit legacybox.com.
The bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath and Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie-cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need, and discounts for seniors and military.
People are still dying from the experimental shot.
Hunter Biden laptop store, he faced 0 consequences.
They're all liars.
They're trying to convince us that we're the crazy ones.
This is what it looks like when you have no value system.
We have metastasized to something the founders warned us against.
This kind of stuff is what people should be investigating.
An invasion of 1 million people.
It's a security issue.
They will never investigate themselves unless we go out there and rip these guys out of those positions.
Well, you know, most medical professionals focus on disease treatment instead of disease prevention. But is that the best way? Today's guest shares how hormone optimization can impact your health. We love to talk about all those kind of things at the table. But before we get to that, join me around the table is Kendra Kelly-Dean, ready to learn about hormones today?
I am so ready to learn about hormones. But I think it is important to not just treat symptoms, but to find out the root cause and build your body up. So I think this is going to be a really interesting show, and people should take notes.
For sure. You know, we're all about that. I mean, if there's a natural way that God, you know, things that God has put on the earth that we can do to heal ourselves, we want to get to the root of that, right?
Yeah, because He wants us to live to the fullness that we can.
That's right.
For the purpose that He's given us. So why can't we be happy while we're doing it and get our hormones in check at the same time?
There you go. Cindy Johnson, are you all about like making everybody happy with good hormones?
Hormones, yes, and I think I have some puzzle pieces missing in my life, and they are probably called hormones.
Oh, we're going to talk about it today. Rachel Lamb Brown, my daughter, how are you?
I'm good, and you know, I think a big misconception that people have is that hormone therapy is only for women going through menopause. But really, it's something that a lot of people can benefit from.
Yes.
And I think that is going to be the most interesting thing for me to learn about today.
For sure. And, you know, in the world that we live in today, I mean, there are young girls and even young women who are struggling with hormones.
Well, and I think we're going to talk about this on the show. I'm so glad you're doing this because this is such helpful information. But we are really being, I hate to use the word attack, maybe onslaughted from so many angles through our food and through our water, through chemicals that are affecting our hormones. And that's why even women today, they're starting their cycle so much younger than 50 years ago. So there's definitely stuff going on, but there's stuff that we can do to be proactive, which is why this show's so important.
Not just starting their cycles earlier, but so many women struggling to get pregnant because so many hormone disruptors.
So many women.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all that.
Infertility is huge.
I don't know if we can do all that in one show, but we're going to try. Cindy Murdoch, this is important because, really food today is not what it was when we were growing up.
It is not.
I mean, it's being altered and GMOs and meat fabricated. It's not meat.
It's weird.
It's
and it gets us off balance.
Yeah.
And then we start treating it with our symptoms with all these drugs that are really bad for us.
Yeah.
Rather than getting to the root cause. So I'm excited because I think it's going to help women and maybe men too.
Yeah, I knew you're excited about this show.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Well, she's a board-certified practitioner, renowned speaker, and co-founder of the Advocacy Medical Center. And she's here to discuss her book, Hormone Havoc, Dispelling Myths and Misconceptions About Hormones in Women and Men. Welcome, Dr. Terry Denai. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Did you hear all our questions?
You guys are pretty well educated. I loved what I was listening to.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I think
fun.
the first time I met you, we had like a little discussion, come to Jesus, and you're like, oh yeah, I believe that. I believe, oh yeah. And interestingly enough, Terry has helped me, but I actually started dealing with hormone balance and stuff and making sure I was good probably late 40s, early 50s, which you said is kind of unusual, but I had a good endocrinologist that was working with me early on. So we're going to talk about that because it's so important. Can you really transform your physical health without medications or pills? Terry is here to share how hormone therapy might be the alternative that you need. So let's talk a little bit. I'm going to let everybody, y'all think of your one question you want to ask, but hormone havoc, is this a real issue going on in the world today?
Oh my goodness, yes, very much so, especially in this country. You guys touched on a lot of it right before, just with all the endocrine disruptors in food. I think one that's really underappreciated is we don't rest. We're constantly stimulated, and we've got all these electronics, and we kind of just put them down.
This right here going on.
Yeah,
like you go in a
right.
restaurant and everybody is looking at their phone.
Right.
Which is not good for us.
So
talk a little bit about some of the myths and misconceptions that kind of stand out to you about hormones that our audience would be interested in hearing.
Well, the number one for women especially is that, I think one of you said it, maybe you said it, that it starts just, when we're in our 50s and we're having hot flashes and going through hormone changes, but it really does happen really often for a lot of women after that second baby. I know you've got another one on the way. Things that are really subtle and that most of us don't really equate to hormones, like I'm not thinking very well, I can't focus, depression even, anxiety is a big one, mood swings is another one. So a lot of these, and a lot of times we'll go to our primary care provider and they're just like, oh, you're just under stress and, just take this anti-anxiety pill or this antidepressant.
Or let me put you on Premarin. Or let me put you on Premarin, which is pregnant mare's urine.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
We've done shows on that. Yeah,
exactly. So I think that's one of the big ones is the age, and then of course the biggest one that we're still haven't unraveled from is that hormones cause cancer, which they don't. We can talk about that. That's a big one.
But synthetic hormones do cause
certain ones,
breast cancer, like Premarin, right? I mean, they're
Prempro, yes, for sure.
So you're all about going more the natural route. Let's just talk. I'm going to let the young ones jump in a minute, but let's just talk about women who are watching who have gone through menopause and they're not on anything. Yeah, did you see Terry? She made a face on that. So what you do and what I did was I go in to see her and I give my blood and you send it off to a lab. And we look to see where my hormones are. Right. Because everybody's different.
Correct.
And so you look to see what, if there's what with me. You can use me example, because you said mine looked pretty good, so I'm like.
You did. It's a myriad of things, and I think one of the things that a lot of women don't understand, even healthcare providers don't understand, is there's 3 key hormones that women need to pay attention to. Estrogen is one, obviously we know that. Progesterone is another, and testosterone is a big one. I think that one's under talked about. It's not talked about a lot. And then of course thyroid hormone, and then some adrenal hormones, and they all work synergistically together. So you really can't just look at one thing. It's a symphony, if you will. You know, God designed our bodies to work in harmony together, and all of these things work and have specific jobs, and there's receptors for different hormones head to toe in our body. So if there's a receptor waiting for a molecule to exert an action, it's got to do something in the body, right? So looking at the blood work is the first step, and lining that up with symptoms is the next thing that we would do.
And so you don't really use synthetic hormones in balancing your patient's hormones?
No, and there's really no reason to use synthetic hormones. There's, commercially available natural hormones too, with certain patches and things. The one synthetic hormone that caused all the issues is a progestin, not to be confused with progesterone. A lot of people interchange those two. It's not the same. But in the big Women's Health Initiative trial where breast cancer became, this big fear, it was actually the progestin arm of that trial that was causing the issue. So the women that were on the synthetic progestins had an increased risk of cancers, strokes, heart attacks, and Alzheimer's disease.
Right. So, Cindy, I'm going to let you jump in because you're going to be our next candidate to go get your blood work done. So we can.
Yes.
Because a lot of women have had what you had, like at 29, which is what?
29, I had a hysterectomy. And
Why?
Because of heavy bleeding and cysts that just continued to happen. And so
I will say to that happened with me where there was some heavy bleeding and cyst, and my doctor wanted to do a hysterectomy, and I knew enough by then to know that I didn't want to do that.
How old are you then?
And so I was probably in my 40s.
Really? I never knew that.
Just a few years ago. Anyway.
It's really common.
Not really. And so that's when I found Dr. Johnson, who's an endocrinologist, and she said, no. She said, which you did what your doctor said. Right. I mean, that's what a lot of women did. And,
that's right.
But anyway,
most women do.
What I did was I went to another doctor and we just did a DNC and actually cleaned everything out. And then I didn't have that issue anymore and I was able to keep everything even to this day.
That's great.
Which I know if you can do that, great. I'm just telling you my story. But also if you have had a hysterectomy, there's still help for you. So continue on.
There's still help for you, Cindy.
Thank God.
There's still help.
And all the women that have had hysterectomies, there's help for you. Don't be dismayed.
Yeah, same.
Well, I've been on estrogen. Well, first they started me on, I think, the drug that you're talking about earlier. But I was all over the place. I finally got to a point, I told my husband, I said, I feel like someone else has moved in my body. I'm not responding like what is normal for me. And it's been a kind of up and down.
Did it make you crazy?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Like I found myself at a stoplight and the light was red and I was yelling in the car at the person to go and the light is red.
It's a very common thing that you're talking about and it's heartbreaking. We laugh because it's funny in hindsight, but it is heartbreaking at the time because I can't tell you how many women have come to me and said, I feel crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm losing my mind and I don't know what to do. I've been to this doctor, that doctor. I put on this medication, that medication. Nothing worked. So it's a very common story, what you just described.
So what would you do for Cindy, like if she were your patient? Because I'm trying to help women who have had hysterectomies.
The biggest mistake, again, we talked about this a little bit previously, that in our country, we're big about prescribing a pill to treat a symptom, right? So that's what they did for you. They prescribed a pill to treat a symptom, a synthetic estrogen probably, that goes through all this stuff when it metabolizes in the gut, and what you have left over isn't always really that great. It may help with hot flashes and some of the symptoms of having your ovaries gone, but it really hasn't replaced that natural hormone, right? So now really we look at all of the hormones. We replace natural estrogen, progesterone, and then you have to look at testosterone. It's a powerful brain hormone. So all of those symptoms of depression, moodiness, anxiousness, fatigue, can't sleep, can't focus, that is a lot of that's testosterone driven.
And the energy. That's the thing that I noticed when you gave me some natural testosterone?
Yep.
Feel funny talking about that. But anyway, you feel you just have more energy and you feel better. Is that one of the side effects of,
yes,
of testosterone?
It's a brain hormone. So I was talking about receptors earlier. So there's thousands of receptors in the area of our brain that's responsible for mood and thinking and mental clarity and focus. And when you don't have that hormone and those receptors aren't being stimulated, then those are the symptoms that you're going to get, right?
And then, what about like, because of testosterone, I always heard like if you have testosterone, that's like a male hormone that you think of typically. That's like it'll make hair grow, will make hair grow, unwanted hair.
Well, let me tell you something.
These are the things we're
That's true. That is true. As you get older, hair is going to grow where you don't want it to grow.
Right.
True. But testosterone's a metabolic hormone, right? So it increases metabolism, and we think of metabolism as just our weight, although that's part of it, but everything grows. Stuff we even don't want to grow, like that hair that's on our face. Yeah. So it can be a side effect of testosterone. It grows faster, but if you aren't a hairy human out of the gate, you don't typically get hairy all of a sudden.
So if someone is overweight, could a lack of testosterone be the reason why?
As women are going through hormone changes in our 40s, absolutely, that can be a huge part of it. And thyroid is another. The two metabolic hormones are thyroid and testosterone. That's why they go together. And practitioners that aren't treating them all together are really missing a big piece.
And that's what you look at when you get the blood work back. Then you sit down and you go over, okay, this is where we need to do this, and this. Yeah. But not only that, you also look at your vitamins.
Vitamin levels, right.
And your vitamin levels, because you say that's very important as well.
It's a holistic. You have to look at the whole, she's looking at the whole picture.
Right. And your gut health, because how are you metabolizing those hormones? Are you excreting the metabolites that we don't want in our body? Are you, so it all plays a part.
And what are some of the, I want to go back to the hormones, but what are some important vitamins that we need that you see women depleted in?
Vitamin D, number one, vitamin D. So when it comes to testosterone receptors working, vitamin D, for men and women, I mean, it's a big one. Vitamin D levels need to be above 60. So we were speaking earlier in the green room about the lab bell curves, right? And so what's normal and so one of the other myths that I really like to dispel is that reference range that you see on your blood work, that's not normal. There's no established normal ranges for hormones. That's just an expected range. So, I always tell people, just like a test in school and a bell curve, you always want to be on that right side of the bell curve, right? You want your grades to be good. Well, it's the same thing with your hormone levels. So being on that right side of the bell curve is not only do you feel better, but it's what equals better health, disease prevention, and things like that. So when we're looking at those labs, that's kind of what we're shooting for.
So for people that get the book, what kind of stuff do you go into that can really help our audience, or for women that are watching, as well as I know you men watch the show too, and you need to have your hormones right, especially as men get older, their testosterone can be an issue. Is that true?
Absolutely. I have a great story in here, and there's so many, but I have as many male stories in here as females. But for men, it's more of it's a very subtle. Things are happening to their brain, their energy, but a lot of men will say, I just don't enjoy doing the things that I once loved. I had one patient come to me, he's just has a lot of gifts to give the world still. And he just said, I really just kind of want to retire. I don't want to do this anymore. And so this thing better work, he said. It was a little pressure. But that's what guys do. They feel kind of the blues, the blahs. They would rather kind of sit in a recliner than get up and even go fishing or do things that they love, play golf, things like that.
Not to mention their sex life.
To mention that. So, women tend to lose desire, men tend to lose function, so they're just not firing on all cylinders there. But men also get they kind of start getting belly weight gain. They get their brain isn't working as well. Their memory doesn't work really well, and it's really frustrating for them.
So what happened to that patient? Your little world changer.
He was great. He came back after that first
ready to
visit.
win the world.
Yep, and he just said, "I cannot believe this. I'm so grateful."
So tell us about another story about a woman that just had a dramatic change.
Oh, goodness. There is a family, actually, that had a dramatic change. And this story is in here, too. And this is a daughter, the daughter of the family came in. She was in her 40s and didn't need estrogen yet, but was having all the stuff, depression, decreased desire for intimacy with her husband, mood swings, anxiety. Just those are a recipe for a relational disaster, as you can imagine. And so she came in, we got her all fixed, and it's really pretty simple. She was really just progesterone, testosterone deficient. But then when she started feeling better, she recognized these changes in her mom. She recognized that her mom was a miserable person also. It took her about 6 months, but she finally talked her mom into coming in. And her mom at that time was 65, her dad was 85, so it was a little bit of an age gap, but he was a retired gynecologist, and they were just ready to get her mom some help. So got her labs done, everything, did her visit, got her taken care of. And then when I brought her back for her follow-up labs, she's sitting in the lab chair, and I go and say, hi, how are you doing? And I mean, she just starts bawling. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I messed this one up, I didn't get something right. But she said, I haven't liked my husband for 25 years.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And she said, I realized now it was me and not him.
Wow.
And I feel like I've lost time.
And she liked him.
Wow.
She liked him.
So
again.
2 weeks later, I go into my next patient's room, and it's the husband.
Oh.
And he said, I just want to thank you for giving me my wife back.
Oh, wow. Made me cry.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's
and then he
great
said,
story.
had I known about this therapy when I was a practicing gynecologist, I would have put everybody on it.
Oh, wow.
And he was lamenting the lack of knowledge to help his patients.
Because OBGYNs, they work directly with women's hormones, and they
Correct.
don't have, a lot of them don't have that kind of knowledge.
They don't. That's true.
And so women get put on not the best care because of the lack of
the
knowledge.
antidepressants and all the things, because that's all they know. And I tell patients this a lot too, and when I teach, because we train doctors all over the country, and it's not their fault. It's just not part of our educational curriculum. We're taught a woman will be in her 50s and start having hot flashes, and you can give her this pill. That's kind of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that it affects not only how you feel, it also affects the way you look and aging and so many other variables.
I'm 80. I mean, come on.
You're 80 and I'm 85.
Exactly.
Okay. What can people do for their gut health?
Oh my goodness. Stop eating junk. I mean, I try to keep it simple with my patients. If you just don't eat anything that you open in a package, let's just start there. So processed foods are the biggest endocrine disruptors. Seed oils.
The outside of the market, of the supermarket.
Exactly.
What's an example of a seed oil?
All the
That's in
oils that
everything.
have cooked, that everything's cooked in, especially
Soybean,
processed food.
canola.
All of those. Anything that's
sunflower,
a seed.
like it's in all the processed food.
So there's no really magic cure. A lot of it is food related.
So what is
It is almost all food related.
Coconut
and
oil?
it's partly, what'd you say?
Coconut oil?
Coconut oil's good.
Olive
Coconut,
oil?
avocado, olive
oil.
Those are tallow. Those are the best ones to cook with.
tallow, yeah.
Tallow. But the other one is sugar. We're an over sugar.
Yeah, that's
and
what
sugar
helped
is
me
very
the
addictive.
most was when I went off of sugar completely. Well, quickly, other question.
I was going to say, what sugar substitutes are okay? Because some are like...
Please say one I use all the time.
I mean, my favorite is actually coconut sugar. If you're just going to use, a sugar that has low glycemic, so it doesn't stimulate your insulin. It's all about insulin resistance, right? We talked about this earlier with PCOS and all of that. So that's the biggest problem. There's a lot of endocrine disruptors. Sugar's the number one. Seed oils is number two. Other than that, monk fruit's good. Stevia is fine. It's just, if you can try to get the least processed. Sugar.
I'm glad you said
coconut
stevia.
sugar.
Thank you, Jesus, for my iced tea. That's like my little gift, when I have unsweet tea is to put a little stevia in there.
Yeah.
Your question, Cindy.
First, I want to say thank you, kudos to my bestie, because my family and the people I grew up in and lived around, and as I got older, we knew nothing about hormones and how important they were. We didn't have the education, so I thank you that she's bringing that to light to the world. And what do women do? I know I was making this one doctor, my primary care, and would be my gynecologist and everything. And I said, okay, when you do my blood work, make sure you do the hormone levels. And she said, oh, honey, at your age, that's not even necessary anymore. And that was the last time I went back.
I would have found someone else.
Mm-hmm.
She probably was younger and hadn't gone through those changes yet. Yeah, so she'll change her tune someday.
So I think we do need to encourage, don't
Absolutely.
you, women to, if
100%.
that's what you get, go find somebody that will.
Right. And you asked the question earlier about, when should you start? And I think also it's who should you see? It's when should you start and who should you see?
Yeah.
Because if you go to just a classically trained practitioner that's not integrated medicine or functional medicine, or that's going to look at the gut, that's going to look at diet, that's going to look at some of these things, that understands that, you're just going to get put on drugs. So,
what are your thoughts on baby formula, since it has seed oils in it, and I've heard from another doctor that it can affect the baby's hormones?
Yep.
Can you speak to that?
If you can avoid it at all possible. It's interesting now, there are so many breast milk banks for women that are trying to get through that season, but we're real behind in the formula world. Germany and some of the European countries are way ahead on the formula situation. But if you look at a formula can, the second ingredient after seed oil is high fructose corn syrup. So we're getting babies addicted to sugar at a very early age. And sugar isn't addictive; it's a drug. I mean, it stimulates the same areas of our brain as
What about
cocaine.
goat milk or some of these other milks? Is there any other alternative for?
I mean, what did we do before formula?
What are some of the other biggest disruptors?
Primarily, it's processed food, sugar, and then hormones in the food, meat, things like that. Plastics.
You should get organic.
Organic, grass-fed if you can. At least, try to do organic, and it's not available
Stay
for
away
everyone.
from GMOs
as much as possible.
How dangerous is this new meat that's not meat?
Goodness.
That Bill Gates is
I could talk 30 minutes about that.
But what about the sugar? So you mentioned this earlier. You said the sugar is causing people to be insulin resistant, which actually is contributing to people who are having more PCOS these days, which is actually contributing to infertility.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of women who are trying so hard to get pregnant may have PCOS or something like this happening in their gut that they don't realize diet can be that simple.
So insulin resistance is the number one, and now the number two contributor to PCOS is a leaky gut and what's called gut dysbiosis. So you have too much bad bacteria in the gut over the good bacteria. That has everything to do with our diet, lack of fiber, lack of probiotics and things like that. So it's all that's kind of probably the biggest endocrine disruptors. The other thing is plastics and all that. We don't want to get down that rabbit trail, but if you can at least just try to start with as much organic as possible. The most simple thing is, I tell patients this: if you can't pick it, pull it, or kill it, don't eat it.
That's good.
Now, I had a guy one time say, pull the potato chips off the
Oh, my word. A guy would say that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Out of the pantry.
That's a great way to teach children to pick it, pull it, or kill it.
But you're talking about kids. I quit volunteering at my daughter's school when she was in elementary school because it disheartened me, all the packages. Like every kid just had a package.
Yeah.
And it's not the parents' fault because we're marketed to so heavily, and it's gluten-free and real fruit juice, and we're, speaking to a mom's heart of, this is so convenient and it's healthy, so it's not though.
It's so funny because Judah, my son, he's 3, he'll be like, I don't want that food, I want pantry food.
Pantry.
I want pantry food. Like when I try to give him a nice meal, he'll be like, I don't want this healthy stuff, I want pantry food. He'll open the pantry.
All of those non-foods, we're in this, we're overfed and undernourished in this country, and all of those non-foods are created with chemicals that are intentionally created to be addictive, and that is known. It's in the clinical literature. We know that now. We moms got to fight for our kids' health, and it starts in the schools.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have. I think we could keep talking for another whole hour about all this, but I love your new book, Hormone Havoc, and this will be such a blessing for for you to get the book. I want you to remember that no matter what situation you may be facing, God has a plan for your life. And I love that Jeremiah 29:11 scripture. It says he wants to give you a hope and a future. And your health is an important part of that. Terry is a spirit-filled believer. She loves God, and she's doing what she's doing because she wants to help people be healthy so they can achieve their God-given destiny. Is that true?
That's exactly
true. Now you help a lot of people in ministry. And if you're watching today and you need a healing miracle or you want wisdom for how to walk out your own hormone health journey, I encourage you to get the book, but we're also here to pray for you, and that's why that toll-free number is on the screen. We have prayer partners that are standing by if you'd like more information on Terry. And like you said, there are practitioners that do more of the holistic type of treatment. Really all across America. I mean, people are so hungry for that and to get to the root. So I know that you can pray. The Lord can lead you, direct you. And I do want to thank Dr. Terry for sharing her story with us. Again, be sure to grab a copy of her book, Hormone Havoc, Dispelling Myths and Misconceptions About Hormones in Women and Men. Men, you got to take care of yourself too. For more on her work, you can contact her at hormonehavoc.com. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms. Leave us a comment to let us know how today's show touched your life, and make sure you subscribe to the Joni Table Talk podcast, available now across all top podcast apps. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, ladies. Did y'all love this show?
Yes.
Wasn't this good?
Yeah.
Rebecca, you got 20 more questions. Rachel's got 20 more. Will you come back and answer their questions?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Anytime.
all right. Well, we love you so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I pray this has been a blessing to you. Again, if you need prayer today, we're here for you. And if you don't know Jesus, that is the most important decision you can make today. We would love to pray with you about that as well. Just invite him in. He will change your life forever. Hey, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for today.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
For your free author submission kit, call 1-800-319-0257. That's 1-800-319-0257. 1-800-319-0257. Call now.
Hi folks, Joe Namath here. I was wearing expensive hearing aids for years until a good friend of mine told me about MD Hearing. I got fitted right over the phone, and I've never had a better pair of hearing aids.
Call now and get 2 rechargeable Neo hearing aids for just $297 with a free portable charging case and free shipping.
Call my friends at MD Hearing and get the over-the-counter hearing aids that I use for you.
Call 800-586-1132.
Well, when it comes to fulfilling our purpose in this life, it is imperative that we do our part to take care of ourselves. 1 Corinthians 6, verse 19 and 20 tells us that our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit and that we should honor God with our bodies. So today, I'm going to share a little bit about my health journey, the challenge God gave me, and how I've walked that path over the last year or two. And many of you have written and asked me a million times, Joni, share us, what are you doing? So we're going to do that today. But first, joining me around the table is my dear friend, Cindy Johnston, who traveled this journey with me.
Yes. Well, I've traveled my own journey.
Yeah, we kind of did that together, actually.
Without even talking about it.
Right, yeah.
I didn't realize that I had really gained that much weight that was not healthy for me at all.
Yeah, yeah. So we're going to talk about that, just kind of kind of what the Lord showed us. Latricia, how are you?
I'm doing fabulous.
You never had a weight issue in your life, right?
Well, I did at one point, after kids and stuff like that, getting the baby weight off and stuff.
Yeah.
So
that's another whole program for sure.
It sure is.
Yeah. Rachel Lamb Brown, is that it's something that's ongoing, the health journey, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say I'm on that soon. I got to get on it because Noah's 9 months, so at some point I got to start. I think it's good to be healthy, and you've had such a remarkable transformation. So,
really?
Girl, you look good.
Thank you. All right, okay. And here I'm going to introduce my husband to the table because he has been actively encouraging me to continue this journey. And of course, he has his own repertoire of stuff that he does. Dr. Doug Weiss, welcome.
Well, thank you for letting me come to the table.
Yeah, come to the table. Do you remember that song?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, we're glad you're here. And Rebecca Lamb Weiss, we're always talking about everything that we can do that's healthy, exercise, down through the years, haven't we?
Yes, we have. I'm just here.
But you are pregnant. We have to tell everyone that. So you're eating healthy, but I mean, it is a challenge. Like right after you have a baby, if you've had a healthy pregnancy, you don't just pop right back into those size 6 jeans.
No, and I didn't think I'd be here on international television talking about this. So.
Okay, Cindy Murdoch, we've talked about this, and of course you have, like, I've been with you when you go up and come down and
up and down. Actually demands a disciplined life and choices. And I think myself, a lot of times, I will eat or not do exercise out of emotion, either tired, don't feel good, or I need some comfort, so I'm going to eat that comfortable food that feels good.
You always tickle me when you say you have intentions to get on your, is it your treadmill?
Yeah.
And you walk by it every day.
Totally
and speak to it. I love that. So how do we honor God with our bodies? Well, we can start by taking an active role in our health. And by understanding this, we can improve our lives and help ensure that we are able to fulfill our personal God-given purpose. That's why today I want to share with you a little bit about my journey. And so many of you asked me the question. So, hey, here's the show for you today. And I'm just going to tell you, it's nothing really earth-shattering that you don't know. But I just believe that those of you that are watching, if you sincerely want to get healthy, you can. Yes. And I believe the Lord can help you. I mean, is it okay to ask God to help us on these kind of things?
Absolutely, because He wants you to have a body to be able to do His ministry. And actually, there's people who die way before they were supposed to because of their irresponsibility.
Yeah.
So God wants us to have a long life, a healthy life, free of disease as much as possible. Yeah. And to do that, we have to cooperate with Him.
Yes. Well, so I can go back with all of you watching and tell you that when Marcus graduated to heaven, and it was very, very traumatic. And I've said before, it's like half your heart leaves. And I was very sad. And Cindy, I remember you were there with me, like from the beginning, like you came over to the house. Cindy, you did as well. Of course, the family. And, but everybody, what do we do when somebody dies? We bring food. Yeah. And so there was a lot of food in the house. And of course, you know, it was a beautiful time to have family together. Remember Marcus, and then of course had his funeral. And that was the most amazing funeral I've ever been to in my life. If you haven't seen it, it's actually on demand and on YouTube, isn't it?
Yes.
And have you ever seen so many ministers at one funeral?
It was a king's funeral in the kingdom. There were more kings honoring a king than you will ever see again in one place.
Yeah, and the music, I mean, every part of it was just anointed, and I just pray the Lord let Marcus peek over the side and see it. So you say, well, why are you saying that? Because I was grieving, and I can remember the month of December. I remember you and Darius came over for New Year's Eve. Do you remember? And I sat on the loggia and cried, and we talked about how sad it was. And I mean, for those of you that have lost a loved one or you've gone through trauma, or it's important to grieve. You know, you as a psychologist, how important is it for people to go through that process of grieving?
Absolutely. You want to go through it as intentionally as possible and feel the pain, let the tears go, let the anger go, deal with the bargaining. If this would have happened, I'll deal with all that process. Have some really close friends you can process it with, is what you did. You did grieving really well.
And Rhonda Davis, only if she was here at the table, because she had lost her precious husband, Hank, 8 weeks before Marcus passed. So we were both widows.
And they were friends, so it even made
Marcus did the funeral for Hank. And so we were talking almost like every night, which God sent for me because she was a little ahead of me actually in the process. But anyway, we would talk and eat ice cream. And she said at our wedding, watch Shark Tank. We would talk about, things that we had to do in ministry, et cetera, et cetera. And, but it was probably long about May. So we'll see, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, that the Lord started speaking to me about getting my house in order. And I can tell you, I was a little offended when he said that to me because I didn't exactly know what he meant, but he said, no, I've got some things coming. And I didn't, at that point, didn't have any idea God was about to open some supernatural doors for Table Talk to go on other networks and other stations and big markets. I didn't know that then, but he knew it. And he just said, I want you to get your house in order. I was like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, you're not taking really good care of yourself. Like, you know how to eat right. You know how to exercise. I had done that really over the course of my life and played sports and all of that growing up. So what I did pretty much right off the bat, this is the first little clue for y'all, is I got off of sugar. And then for me, I gave up like all of the bleached and white products, like white flour. I gave up potatoes. I gave up white rice. I gave up, what else?
White bread.
Yeah, well, white bread, yeah. And then I stuck more to like fish and vegetables and protein, vegetables, some fruit, and lots of water. And thank goodness I had my stevia. Y'all should bring me a stevia bottle so I would make unsweet tea. Yeah. And if I wanted something sweet, I would sweeten the unsweet tea with stevia. And we love that, don't we, Cindy?
It helps amazingly.
Yeah.
Was there a certain order that you ate or times that you ate or portion,
I also joined Pilates. That was the other thing that I did. And I had walked like my whole life, and I had done Orange Theory and all these other kind of exercises. But I joined Pilates, but doing Pilates and also drinking a lot of water, cutting out those things that I mentioned, I started feeling better. And I know, did you do some of those very same things?
Probably not as specific as you did, but I definitely cut down on what I was eating. I cut out like the ice cream, and I didn't deprive myself of like a dessert, but I was very intentional about what I ate. But that's something I noticed about you, Joni, through the journey.
Yeah.
Because we would eat lunch together all the time. And I noticed that you cut back on your portions. Like you might not
eat the whole
plate full of food, which that was very impressive to me. And it helped me. It was like, okay, I don't have to eat the whole thing.
Were you full?
Yeah, because over time, if you give up those things, first you kind of have, when you give up sugar, you go through withdrawals, and you have headaches, and you feel bad.
It's tough.
And but once you get through that and you start eating healthy, your body starts feeling better, and you start feeling better, and your stomach actually will shrink a little bit.
And I think making choices too. I found that when I would go out, I would, instead of getting like a loaded baked potato with my protein, I would make another choice of like grilled vegetables instead. And I was just as content with that.
Yeah.
But it was a lot lower in calories for me. So,
but I think people get confused because they think you lost weight like really fast, but you actually did it. It was like, because I was doing the math in my brain and it was such a blur in my mind because I'm like trying to remember that time in my life because I had Bo in May, and then I was pregnant. Dad went. But you actually did it for like a whole year.
Yes. Right. It was very slow. And I think.
But no one notices until you lose like 20 pounds.
Right.
And then you kept losing weight, you know?
Yeah. I think a mistake that a lot of people make is, especially women, is we think, oh, we run and like do all this stuff. Like, we're going to lose weight. But it doesn't really matter even how much you work out. It's what you put in
It's
your
your
body.
diet.
Your diet is.
No, I know that as a fact because, like, I worked out my entire life, and I thought, well, what's the difference between me and the guys and girls who go to the gym who never change their body and the person who becomes a bodybuilder? Because we're doing the same workouts, and I've competed many times, and it is the diet. Abs are made in the kitchen.
And those people are on the strictest diet.
Yeah, well, I've done it several times.
It's very restrictive.
But it's your diet that makes your body. Exercise is great, but if you exercise and then go eat pizza, another trick is if you go do cardio for 30, 45 minutes and then you put anything in your mouth other than water, your body is not going to, it's going to stop burning fat. You actually burn fat for another 45 minutes if you don't eat.
Yeah.
You know, and I see these people go to the treadmill, and so they get on a treadmill, they grab a protein bar.
Oh, that's good.
Put it in their mouth, and it's like, boom, shuts down the whole thing.
That is
never
good to know.
deviated.
You can run, you can exercise, you can do cardio, and there will be no change if you don't change the food that you're eating.
Exactly.
So that's a real key, I think, is eating the right food. And so you say, well, you know, do you just say so strict? And I think you and I have talked about sometimes, like on the weekend, you know, you make it a little treat.
Well, even bodybuilders, when we go into serious training, what we do is we have one cheat meal a week.
Yeah.
So we're like really disciplined for those, but that burger and fries, I mean, you look forward to that all week, you know, and you go, what's my cheat meal going to be while I'm eating my little rice cakes and my broiled chicken, right? And so it's okay to have a little deviation, but it's what your norm is that's going to make your body.
Yeah,
but then we start exercising and working out and getting you doing more stuff too, which was fun.
Yeah, I know, Cindy, you've done Weight Watchers. Yeah. And that worked really good for you. You'll be telling me your points.
Yeah.
I still don't understand that, but it works.
And it was a great eye-opener for me because of the points that
You saw how much you were taking
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
like you could eat something and have no idea it had that many, and I'm like, that's my whole meal. Like, I mean, that's my whole day of points. I can't even have anything else.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's one of
good
the things.
discipline.
That's one of the things. Your stomach is so small, and you look at your meal and like, that's a large meal. So it resonates with you. Like, okay, I need to balance this out, you know.
Yeah.
But also consistency is one of the things too. Like cutting sugar, carbs was my thing as well, and that can turn into sugar as well.
Right.
So it's like being consistent with that, with the protein, salmon, baked chicken, vegetables is always a good
And there are
go-to.
good carbs.
Yeah, there are good carbs as
like
well.
fruit, like avocado, like, you know, there are
Healthier carbs.
Avocado
Healthier
is fat.
carbs.
Well,
Good fat.
anybody who, I think anytime you stick with
God
God's
carbs. God carbs.
God carbs and God colors.
And the outside of the
So
grocery
if it comes in a
store.
bag, don't eat it as a carb.
But what about the emotional and mental and spiritual side of this, Doug?
Well, I mean, first of all, if you're eating the wrong food, you're going to be in a bad mood.
It's true.
You're not going to be spiritually sharp.
true.
You're going to get in a funk, a sugar funk, a carb funk, and stuff like that can happen to you. And also, it's when you eat. Like, if you're going to eat, you know, pick a time when you don't eat, just to know that you can not eat. Say, okay, I'm not going to eat from 4 o'clock to bedtime or 5 o'clock till bedtime. And pick a time when you're not going to eat. Because as Americans, we have food around all the time. We're eating all the time.
Stomach
Those are
never
all
rests.
calories and it adds up. That's another thing you can do is pick a time when you're not going to eat. But I would also say the most important thing is have someone you're accountable to. It's the secret food that's going to kill you.
The closet
It's when you go on in the freezer by yourself and nobody knows as if God does not exist. Okay?
It's not the freezer, it's the refrigerator.
It's
like
everywhere.
Look in
It's
there.
everywhere. So have someone you're accountable to. Say, hey, I picked a time when I'm not going to eat. I pick things I'm not going to eat, and I'm going to stick with this, and then have accountability. Because if we confess our faults one to another, we can be healed.
Yeah.
And see, a lot of us don't confess our food sins.
That's right.
Our food sins.
There are like healthy treats that you can do that taste like they have sugar, but they don't have sugar. They have God sugar in it. And or we use fruit, or you use figs or dates or something.
Monk fruit
to sweeten it with. So one of the things that I learned is that if you want to have a special treat and not have sugar, there are alternatives out there. There's a lot of recipes on the internet and stuff. And so we have a couple of little desserts that we want to share with you. And y'all can all taste this first one. It's called the Magic Cookie. What it has in it is 1.5 cups of cashews, 1.5 cups of unsweetened coconut flakes, 3/4 a cup of the Lily Stevia chocolate chips. There's no sugar in those. You can get those at Whole Foods. And 3/4 of a can of the coconut unsweetened condensed milk. Okay, so delicious. Everybody taste it. Everybody taste it. Tell me what you think.
I think it's better than the
Does it have raisins?
other Magic Cookie because
Chocolate.
it's not so obnoxiously sweet. Very good.
But the chocolate comes through just right.
Yes.
Very
Okay,
rich.
honestly, what do you think, Cindy?
I like it. There's a lot of coconut in it. If you're a real coconut eater, I
love
like
coconut.
it.
What'd you think?
Very good.
I love coconut and I love the chocolate. It's so rich.
So what do you think about it, babe?
I love them because I have these at home. So
I know you do,
love
and you eat them all the time when I'm trying to save them.
them. Thank you.
Mom.
I'm saving you.
Okay.
It's a
what do you
sacrifice.
think, Becca? What
It's
did you
good.
think? You like it?
It
Cindy?
is good.
Absolutely delicious.
I mean, I love it, like with a cup of hot tea or
This
a
would
cup
be
of
fun.
I would
coffee.
never want sugar if I had these.
Yeah. Another one I do that's similar, that's really easy for
gonna be
people
good
at
for your
home,
kids.
is I'll buy dates. And I'll just take the pip
Dates are
up
so good.
and I'll like just mush it together and I'll put the chocolate chips.
You roll in like in peanuts and chocolate chips.
And then some type
Dates
of
and
nuts.
chocolate,
I do like
yeah.
the thin almonds and it
good.
kind of tastes like a Snickers. Judah loves
The
them.
chocolate tastes good on this.
Yeah. So the dates.
So this is Lily's?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the dates, you get the dates, you take the pit out of it, and then you just roll the date, and we call it God's caramel.
Yeah.
And then you just put down the Lily's stevia sweetened chocolate chips, and peanuts or thin almonds.
I do thin on whatever nut you want.
And just roll it in it, and it is so good. Now,
You can make it into a bark too.
dates
that's something
do
you
have
can
a
make
lot of
on-
natural.
Dates have a lot of calories too.
Dates have
And a lot of
calories
sugar,
and
yeah.
sugar, but it's God's sugar.
It's so good.
But
You're
they
gonna-
also have
But
a lot
right.
of fiber, right? So they help
Right.
you poop.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
there's that. Yeah.
So we're just getting it out.
And when
Exactly.
women, before they give birth, they're supposed to eat like tons of dates. 'cause
Yes,
it's supposed to
it'll
help
help
with birth. So
Yes.
fun fact, folks.
Girls, so I should be
read that.
making you those today.
Okay, well, let's move on, ladies. Let's move on. Banana nut bread. This is
What did
really
she
good.
sweeten it with?
It's got 3 bananas, 2 eggs, 1/4 a cup of oil, 1 cup of oatmeal, 1/2 a cup of almond flour, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of baking powder, and get this, 1/4 of a cup of monk fruit sweetener, 1
Very
teaspoon
good.
of baking soda, and a pinch of salt.
Very moist.
Is that not good?
No, it's. I think it's the best one.
Very good. That is so good.
That
Be
is
careful with
unreal.
your fake sweeteners because some of them taste really bad.
Yeah.
And monk fruit because a lot of monk fruit is mixed with ethereal.
You have to get the right one.
There's not that many that are just straight up monk
That's
fruit.
really
Right.
good.
So look for that
is.
on the label. Okay, now this is the cheesecake. It's called burnt cheesecake. It has cream cheese, 2 eggs, Greek yogurt, again, monk fruit sweetener, a teaspoon of vanilla, and a pinch of salt. So tasted that, because there's no carbs in it at all, no sugar. Put it with a little bit of whipped cream.
Sugar-free whipped cream.
Oh, that's good.
Isn't that good?
If you're like
That is very
intentionally,
love it.
You could put It some tastes- fresh fruit
If you're
around
craving
it
a
or on
cheesecake,
it.
You could put some
I
you
love
could put
it.
some blueberries, but eat it with the whipped cream. Isn't that good?
Tastes like cheesecake.
Yeah, I definitely.
It really does.
That's a good batch right there.
So you go to jonilamb.com/recipes, and they have that on the screen. Is all of you want the recipe, I know.
Yes.
But again, okay, so
But email us yours too if you got something that's really good. Send
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Let's
that's
share. This is a family, right?
that's right.
We
And
can all
just
help
remember
each other.
this, it's in moderation.
Right.
Like you can't go eat 4 plates of this and go, well, it didn't have any sugar, so I'm good. Because you still have calories, right?
Calories and
yeah,
fat
that's what
and-
Doug
yes.
was saying is like you have to count your calories.
Like these are really cute small portions,
Right.
You know, but if you had like a huge, you would ruin your day. So again, it's discipline to have the portion control, and just agree to something. If you want to take a journey, like anything, you want to have a better spiritual life, agree to the discipline. Disciplines guarantee outcomes. You don't have to worry about outcomes if you plant a discipline. That is kind of the motive of what we're talking about today.
So what about for people who aren't exercising, they say, okay, I'm gonna do some of the stuff you're talking about, Joni, about try to eat healthier, give up sugar, etc. What would be a start for them exercising? It's just walking.
Just if you can't do anything, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. Take the steps that you can take. Start with a block, start with 5 blocks, go to a mile, go to 5 miles. But start somewhere. But start with a friend. You will more likely, research shows that you will more likely succeed if you get a partner. And even if that partner is your dog, but get a real person and take the dog with you guys. But get outside, do something with your body. The body was made to do stuff. It's not made to sit in front of a screen, okay? It's made to move. And if you move it, you get better results.
So, walking is good. How good is swimming?
Swimming is great for your body and no joints.
One thing you do sometimes is you just kind of run in the water.
Running in water burns 30% more calories.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to spend an hour walking, I'll do it in the water. I burn 30% more calories.
But if people don't know how to swim,
so much harder than it looks.
If somebody doesn't know how to swim, they could get in the shallow end of a pool or whatever and just walk, and they're not going to hurt their joints.
And you can do the water aerobics class that every gym and every YMCA has.
Yeah.
So you can, if you want to do something, you will find something to do.
And then if you are a little bit more serious, you can do some weights. But what kind of weight should they start out with?
Any gym has a trainer. Start there. Ask them what you can do, and let them take you through every machine so you do it intelligently.
Just one word quickly, what would you say to encourage people of something that helped you? I guess do you lose 20 pounds, 25 pounds?
20 about.
Yeah, okay.
I think just portion control for me and living your life on purpose. So you have purpose for this is the choices I'm going to make today.
It's okay once a week to have a little treat.
Yes, and I do, but it's nothing that I was doing before.
Right. Latricia? Quick little.
I would say just be consistent. That's the key word. And one of the things I did was the treadmill for three days out of a week for 30 minutes.
That's good.
Just for beginners. Yeah. And it helped within a month or so, you would start to feel the difference. You know?
Right. And I put mine on an incline, so you can steadily go a little faster. You don't want to go real fast anyway. You just want to walk, but you want to walk at a good pace.
Right.
And then I put mine on an incline, which helps as well when I have that suit on. What would you say?
I would say for all of you that feel overwhelmed with all the information, don't. Start somewhere. Yeah. Start with one thing. And then as you get consistent and comfortable with that, then add another thing. So maybe it's just, I'm going to cut out soda and I'm just going to really focus on my water intake. And then I'm going to walk on the treadmill a couple times a week, or maybe just one time a week, and you just slowly add and build.
And if you want a soda,
exactly,
do sparkling water. They have all these great sparkling waters that have no sugar in them, and you still feel like you're getting a soda. But there's nothing worse for you than some of those sodas.
Start where you
really
are
bad for you.
with what you have.
That's
baby
good.
steps.
What would be your advice?
Baby steps.
Weight is a heart issue. It's not a body issue.
Right. Yes.
When your heart decides that you are worthy of getting better, you will pick anything to get better. So just check your heart and say, Lord, is there something I need to do? And then do what he tells you to do.
Yeah, that's good. Rebecca?
I would say that your self-worth is not tied into how you look. So don't be hard on yourself, how you look, and know that God loves you as you are. And don't motivate yourself or put pressure on yourself in that way, but understand that you're valuable. And it's worth taking care of yourself. And you can allow you to be a motivator, or you can allow your kids or your grandkids, but wanting to be around and feel good for as long as you can while you're on this earth. I want to feel good in my body for as long as I can. And I want to be able to be healthy. And I remember Dad always said, I want to be as healthy as I can so I can be here for your kids and, for my kids and for my grandkids. So that was always his mentality. And that's kind of the mentality I want to continue myself.
Yeah. I feel so much better, like 30, 35 pounds down, just even bending down to pick up the grandkids or play with them or sit on the floor with them. It really makes a huge difference in how you feel.
Yeah, like working out for me, I'm just going to say really quick, wasn't even about toning or losing weight. It was about my mental capacity. Like when I could go to the gym, I could just let it all go, get it out, and I would walk away just feeling so refreshed. That endorphin release, there's something to say about that.
That's true.
The same for me.
That's what I was
Cindy?
going to say. I think where I'm at now and focusing, and wish I had done it even more so earlier in life, to be intentional, that better health means better life. And if we don't have our health, we will not have a good and a life that we can enjoy.
Yeah, and the other thing, I did mention stevia. This is the kind we use. It's a KAL brand. And because, like you said, Becca, all stevias are not the same, and all sweeteners are not the same. This is a really good tasting one.
Yeah. It doesn't have a bitter aftertaste.
Yeah. And by the way, I did not take any drug. I did not take any shots. It was all the Lord and Him helping me with self-control.
You received a lot of love.
Yes, yeah, and I received some love along the way as well, and that helped me. But you can do this, and I'm excited about what God's going to do in the days ahead. Well, we're out of time. I really want you to take away one important point from today's table talk, and that is God has purpose for your life. It's so important that you're able to fulfill it, and you can do that so much better when you're taking care of this body, which is the temple of the Holy Spirit. And I want to say also that it just kept coming to me that, unforgiveness can really, really affect your body, your metabolism, how you feel. So you don't understand sometimes that you need to get those emotions under the blood of Jesus, and you need to forgive and have peace in your heart and your mind and your soul. That's going to help you accomplish some of the goals that we've talked about. And of course, always check with your physician before beginning any health regimen. And if you're watching today and you need prayer and encouragement, or maybe you're just watching this because you wanted to hear about what we're going to share about the health journey and good recipes and all that kind of stuff, but you don't know Jesus, really that is why we exist, is to share the gospel with you and let you know that Jesus loves you. And all you have to do is just call out on the name of Jesus and say, Jesus, I need you come into my heart today. Forgive me. And that will also help you in the start of this new journey to have Him on the inside of you. It will change everything. Well, we have wonderful prayer partners standing by. If you prayed that prayer, I'd love to send you a free book that's in actually the book of John from the Bible, which is a great place to start. And we'd love to send that to you as our way of saying we're excited about what God is doing. We're excited about what God's going to do in the days ahead. And we want you to read the Word of God because it's so very important. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you found our stories and insight helpful. Follow us on all the social media platforms. Leave us a comment to let us know how this program impacted you. I want to hear your stories like 3 or 4 months from now. Tell me what's going on. And also don't forget to subscribe to the Joni Table Talk podcast. It's available now across all top podcast apps. Thank you so much for watching.